Kuschell.
Welcome to growthtofreedom.com, the show that helps you transform your life, business, and relationships. I'm Dan Kuschell, and thanks for making us part of your day. We've got a great show today. Let me ask you a question. How'd you like to learn better strategies for leadership, entrepreneurship, and hiring? Well, we've got an expert today that is going to show you how to do just that, provide you more clarity, confidence, and direction. By the way, our show today is presented by Done For You Solutions. We'd love to connect with you. You can join us on Twitter at Dan_Kuschell. That's Dan_Kuschell, Kuschell, or email the show at info@growthtofreedom.com. That's info@growthtofreedom.com. And by the way, stay tuned because we've got a special resource package for you that we're going to tell you all about that you're going to be able to get your hands on for free that will help you be better at communication, persuasion, influence, marketing, and hiring too. So let's dive into it. Have you ever been in a place and time where you really felt like, I've got this leadership talent, skill, capability inside of me. I've got this entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship bug, and I just want to know how to go to the next level. Well, the gentleman that we have joining us today, his name is David Jensen. He's an entrepreneur. He's a consultant. He's an expert in hiring and team building. He's a #1 best-selling author on Amazon, founder of the nakedinterview.com, the founder of the Hiring Academy. He's an expert at growth. He's taken companies from startup, worked with seasoned companies, helped grow them to somewhere in the range of $2.5 billion a year. So this is someone who walks his talk and is uniquely qualified to show you how to be a better leader, better entrepreneur, heck, even a better human being. So Dave, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks very much for having me.
Awesome. Well, I am looking forward to this. I know we've gotten a chance to know each other and get to know each other over the last few years. We met through Joe Polish and Genius Network. And I guess I'd love to give everybody a framework for our audience who are watching, listening. Who is Dave Jensen, and what the heck does Dave Jensen do? What does he spend his time doing today?
Well, right now I'm standing out on my porch looking at the water go by on an island in Washington where I get to hang with my family and grow a business as an online entrepreneur, and then travel around the country sharing the message about how to hire the right people the first time and every time. So that's what I'm doing this morning, Dan.
That's awesome. And I know we've gotten a chance to know each other. I know you deeper than that as a dad, as a coach, right? You coach this, high school all-star basketball team, girls
That's
team.
right.
I mean, you're just involved in a lot of different cool things. So I guess I can't help but ask, but what would you say? I mean, you've had a lot of success. You've worked in the corporate world, C-level executive, entrepreneur, etc. What would you say are some of David Jensen's personal success strategies that ultimately would translate to our viewers and our listeners today?
Personal strategies, is that
Yes.
what you said?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think, that's always a tough thing because everyone has kind of their own routines, and whether it be, foundation in friendship, religion, family, whatever case it is, I think one of the biggest things that I do is just make sure that I'm always heading in a positive direction. And that means for whether it be myself, my family, my group, my business, really always looking to be headed in a positive direction and helping others first, because you really, really do, get a return when you help others. And that's how I started my company, and that's how I now enjoy its rewards, which include being able to spend time with friends and family and help business owners the way I really love to.
And I think you bring up a great point, helping others first. I know last week's show at growthtofreedom.com/17, I had a good friend of mine, Rick Byrne. He talks about how to turn fans into super fans and how he does that in a niche of the photography industry, right? And Joe Polish, he talks about this magic rapport formula, which is about giving value up front overall. And so I hear you say helping others first. Now, what would you say are some of the mistakes that people where can people get hurt where they go out looking to help others first versus, working and making sure it's in alignment and choosing the right places or the right people to actually do that with. Can you talk about that a little bit, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that you obviously have to begin with yourself, and you have to kind of know what are your core values. What are the things that make you happy, that make you feel fulfilled, and that are really on your purpose line. You know, what are your freedoms? What do you want freedom from? And this is a trick I learned in 25K Genius Network with Joe Polish, and I think you were in the room at least once when this has been done. And really looking at what's the definition of freedom. You know, freedom from what chains can you break? What restrictions can you get away from? And then freedom to, can I, hang up the phone and go hop on a boat and, go out on the Puget Sound right now? Or do I have to go punch a clock somewhere? And so that's, your own personal values. And then you move that up through, basically your dynamics of life. Like, okay, good. Now my family, where are my boys right now? What are they doing? How can I help them better succeed in life? And, how is my wife enjoying her role? And then expanding to my company, how are my employees doing? Are they really enjoying what they do? Are they excited about coming to work? Are they, are they part of the program? So it's all about those freedoms, I think.
Yeah, and I think it may even go a step deeper, right? It's the quality of the questions that we really ask ourselves. And or the converse is true. I think the quality of our life many times can get derailed when we're not focused on asking ourselves quality questions. What I hear you saying, if I've got this right, number one, your personal success is built around certain routines, habits, practices, rituals, right? And part of that is starting with yourself, which are your core values, and asking the right questions based on the freedom from idea, the freedom to idea, checking in with yourself, checking in with your family, then checking in with your team / your company. Do I have all that right?
You say it so eloquently, Dan.
So speak about questions. So Dave, you've had this, incredible rise of success. I mean, you have to some degree a golden touch of the things that you're a part of. I mean, you're a guy that's truly a giver, right? You're a guy that's big in relationships. That's evident in everything you do. So talk about the power of questions in your life and what types of questions you build as a framework to really be working to ask on a semi, if not regular basis, to really build the success that you build.
Well, it really goes. It leans right back to what we were just talking about on those freedoms and what are my goals. And when I look at what I wanted most in life, and it was that freedom to be able to live anywhere I wanted to be able to work. Doing something that like I get up every morning and I'm excited about, freedom to be able to, to see my family, expand and do what they want to do in life and really be thrilled with their life. And then I wanted a little more than that as well. I wanted to be able to communicate with anyone in the world and have an impact on, life itself. So the reason it turns back to that with that question is because then that's what I ask others about. And that's what I find out about their passions, because that's where they should be headed in their careers and in their companies when they're bringing on team members. So if you're expanding your company with a real core value or purpose, you want to make sure that the people you bring into your family, because you spend more time at work than you do even at home, are people who align with those same goals. And if you put people in place that are doing that, every day, day in and day out, then you can be able to step back a little bit from the company and watch it grow while you go enjoy your freedom.
Absolutely. And, the thing about values is they hold true not only when it's a great spring, but they also hold true, right, when we get a bad winter and when we, have a cool fall and or we head into the seasons of life that we deal with: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Values
Awesome
are
analogy.
those things that hold true 100% of the time, no matter what season that you're going in. And that's one of the things that I find about you. I know not too long ago, I don't know how deep you'd want to go into this, but you made a transition. You had an equity relationship in a company, and you made a hard choice that I don't know that most people would make. You had a high income potential with that particular organization, and ultimately, as I think I understand it, you asked yourself these types of questions to make a choice, and then ultimately moved from one part of the country to now this island you're living on in Washington. Is that true?
That's true. Now, you're not going to make me cry, Dan. Not going to make me cry. There's no Jerry Maguire moment here for you.
No Jerry Maguire moment. Well, we'll see about that.
Okay. I know you're digging, but it is true. I took the entrepreneurial leap, and I encourage others to do that day in and day out with the confidence that, it's that old adage, jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down. And if you really know your true core values, if you really know that you have some unique ability, as they say in Strategic Coach, or you have, a purpose that is really strong, then that will carry you through. And if you go out and share that with others, then you should see that return. And now it's just a matter of continuing to pickaxe in the diamond cave until you actually hit diamonds and never giving up. And so I did take that leap, and I'll never ever look back. I've never been happier.
And it's funny you say that because, I mean, it's obvious in you're just the way you're showing up in the things that you do. I look at it to a degree like it's the good ship. It's called leadership, number one. It starts with you, leading to entrepreneurship. So we've got leadership and entrepreneurship that ultimately allows us to live our purpose. In your case, your vehicle happens to be helping build leaders, helping build entrepreneurs, and help build better hiring systems to get it right the first time, every single time. Now, when we come back, Dave, what I'd love for you to share is maybe some of the challenges that you dealt with in going through that transition, or maybe some of the fears, right, that you dealt with, and your process of being able to do this, because it's shown up in an incredible way. So when we come back, we'll have David Lee Jensen, the hiring guru, founder of thenakedinterview.com and davidleejensen.com, with more leadership, entrepreneurship, and hiring strategies for you to put in place today. We'll be right back. Welcome back to growthtofreedom.com, the show that helps you transform your life, business, and relationships. Let's summarize the first segment of the show. We've been talking to David Lee Jensen. He's the founder of thenakedinterview.com, the Hiring Academy, and you can go visit him at davidleejensen.com. We've been talking about leadership. We've been talking about entrepreneurship. By the way, are you on that good ship? If not great ship, what ship are you on? That's a great ship to be on as far as leadership and entrepreneurship. He's an expert at hiring, team building, team culture, and a whole lot more. We've been talking about routines, rituals, and habits, starting with core values. Number one, looking at yourself first, going to your family, then ultimately your team. A question that he learned from Strategic Coach, our Genius Network, on the idea from Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach of freedom from and freedom to, and how Dave made the transition, having a very successful business career. He's built up as an executive in a company, had equity in a company, and decided to make the leap and start a completely different new company, and made that leap off the cliff to entrepreneurship himself. And so he can speak from experience, not only being highly successful as an executive, but now highly successful as an entrepreneur. So I'm curious, Dave, in this journey that you've been on, what would you say were some of your concerns, some of your fears, if you can remember back to that time when you made this leap, that maybe the questions you asked yourself that ultimately led to you deciding, yes, I deserve this. Yes, I'm the best. Yes, I'm a champion, and I'm going to go for this because I can go make a difference, and I can go make even a bigger impact living my dream being an entrepreneur.
Wow, that's quite a question. I mean, obviously the number one that anybody, if I say anything else, everyone will laugh, but the number one is can I make the money to survive? I mean, money is energy, right? And you need to, get way out there, spread attention units, people paying attention to what you're doing and giving you the energy and the return in money to be able to, the mortgage payment doesn't go away. The expenses of, living don't go away when you quit your job and decide that you're going to tackle entrepreneurship. So
Wow.
that's probably the number one concern, right?
I've asked that question of a lot of entrepreneurs, Dave, and I have to admit, I believe in my heart of hearts that's probably one of the most heartfelt answers that most entrepreneurs face, but I don't know that I've ever heard anybody bring it up live in a show. And I just want to sincerely appreciate and respect you for your honesty in sharing it. So I have a question. You talk about getting attention, right? And being able to get yourself out there. What would you say has been the number one strategy or a couple strategies that have allowed you to feel confident that you could get yourself out there? Like, what did you do? What was the process to be able to make that happen?
Wow. Well, that is a constant challenge that I face even today. What is the next thing? Social media changes so much that, now I'm on Periscope every day, right? Brand new platform, probably only months in existence or since it's been worthwhile at all. And, you get on Periscope and you give some hiring advice, you give some advice about life, you talk about just your own life, and people get interested. And then somebody will say, hey, I have a company that I do have trouble hiring and I do need some help. Where can you send me? And people buy books, or people end up scheduling a free coaching call or anything of that sort. And that's a new social medium. You continue to use every social medium that you can, and through your service to others, you eventually start to get word of mouth as well.
And speaking of service to others, how do you look at, getting involved with someone, and what does that look like when you're looking to provide service in advance?
How do I? Well, I think what happens is it's a progression where it depends on where they began to where they're going to go, and then how to get there. I mean, that's the simple consulting formula everyone uses, right? Okay, you currently have trouble in this area. Great. What would be the ideal outcome and the ideal existence if that were all solved for you? Great. What's the one thing we can do to start moving you in that direction? In fact, I've heard that from you before. Okay, Dave, what's the one thing that would be, move you to the next level? And I just try and imbue that in my own relationships and clientele. Like, I take every opportunity. Like, I'd love to take an opportunity right now. If anyone goes to thenakedinterview.com, I put a secret bar there at the bottom of the page, and it says Free Truth ebook. And so anybody goes to thenakedinterview.com right now, no special / no hidden agenda. At the bottom of the page, Free Truth. They get 10 truths on how to hire the right person the first time and every time. And if I keep forwarding those types of things, then people go, wow, this nugget was really important to me and really helpful to me to be able to pull back from my business a little bit. How can I refer you to someone else, or how can we retain you to do this big project for our next level of expansion? And suddenly you're helping others and being helped yourself, and you feel a lot more calm when you go to sleep that night.
No doubt about it. And you definitely demonstrate servant leadership in what you do, Dave. And we've gotten a chance to see each other at different events over the years. What would you say is your number one strategy to be able to get out there and network, connect, be able to meet people that are more of your type of person, an ideal type client that you'd want to, that share your similar values? Where do you find those types of people for what you do?
Well, I mean, obviously the first place I was finding them when I decided to take this full leap was through Genius Network. As you've already mentioned, Joe Polish, Dan Sullivan, all these guys are amazing connectors, and with like-minded people who are entrepreneurs and people who have decided that they are going to help others and continue to help their own purpose by growing in a network of like-minded individuals. And that's definitely an avenue that I would suggest to anyone to continue to expand their growth in that arena. And then within a hiring community or an HR area, really it's about the speaking events I do through, either Fortune 500 companies all the way to local business groups. I'll get asked to come and talk to a Young Entrepreneurs Society or to a Chamber of Commerce in an area, and just giving them a whole lot of information that can help them. If 9 of them run out and just use that information to better their lives, then at some point they're going to tell somebody about me, and maybe the 10th person says, hey, we've got a contract for you, or what have you. I don't ever go in with the expectation of, oh, I'm going to make money from this presentation. I just go out there kind of saying, hey, I've got some solutions. They've worked for me. I've seen them work for thousands of other businesses that I've done consulting for. And if they can work for you too, that'd be great. And eventually it all comes around, and once again, you can sleep better at night.
And that, of course, is one of the secrets too, right? To building success is having great energy.
At night. Ariana Huffington talks quite extensively about getting enough sleep to make sure that you're well rested and fully present in your day every day.
I know, and it's funny because my health got away from me back in the late 2000s, and you and I've talked about this quite a bit. And part of it was I thought I had to be a certain type of personality. I was living on less than 4 hours of sleep a night. I did that for over a decade, and it burned me out. And guess what? As you're watching or listening right now, we'd hate for that to happen for you. So when we come back, David Lee Jensen of davidleejensen.com is going to share more strategies of leadership, entrepreneurship, and hiring on growthtofreedom.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to growthtofreedom.com. Are you looking for ways to be a better leader, better entrepreneur, better at hiring? Well, guess what? We've got David Lee Jensen at davidleejensen.com joining us today to talk to you and provide you more clarity, confidence, and direction. Let's summarize the first two segments of the show. We've been talking about the idea of routines, rituals, and habits, core values, the question, freedom to freedom from, taking that leap and getting off the cliff. And when David made this transition from being a high-paid, high-level executive to being an entrepreneur, the number one question that he had to decide and determine is, can I make money to survive? And then he talked about how he's actually been able to look at being able to get people's attention, get himself out there, and some of the strategies being built around that. So Dave, I guess I'm curious, as it relates to what leap you've made, for you personally, what would you say has been the best, I guess, outcome for you personally as a result of making that leap as a person, whether it's mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, emotionally, financially, etc., that you really are so proud of today, having made that step? I'm curious.
Well, proud of is the fact that I get to spend more time with my family than I ever have, ever, period. And that's what I'm most proud of, is being able to see my boys every day when they come home from school and ask them about their days and play some catch or go for a walk or go for a hike or anything like that. That is the most important thing. Also, being able to now, one of the greatest hiring decisions I ever made was so long after it should have occurred, which is after 23 years of marriage, my wife actually came into my company. And that was an amazing decision. She has helped tremendously in this last year and a half or so since we took the entrepreneurial leap. And we get to work together every day on the same purpose and the same direction. And that has just been something that I'm really, really proud of and really, really excited about.
That's awesome. I'm going to come back to that working relationship with your spouse, with your wife, right, who's the love of your life, and how you make that work. Because I think, in the final segment of the show, that's going to just be a lot of insight and value that people will get, because I think not only it applies in a company, but it applies at home, it applies in relationship, because at the end of the day, we're all CEOs of YOU Corporation, aren't we? Right?
You have the greatest analogy, Dan.
Well, thank you. Some of us do it better than others, right? If our goal is to be profitable every year and prosperous and wealthy from a mindset point of view, some are better. I've had bad decades, right, of that. And then on the other end, I feel blessed and fortunate and grateful that today, I'm also married to the love of my life, and she's like the CFO of our entrepreneur family, and all those types of things. So one thing that pops up to me, Dave, is one of the things I've started with my kids here over the last year or so is having a conversation at dinner that we talk about what are you grateful for, what are you happy about, what did you do well, but one other thing we added that I picked up from members Maria Carter and John Carter, who run a very successful company on education in the stock industry, and it was a question we've intertwined, which is, what mistakes did you make today? And what I've discovered doing this process with my kids is that they've embraced it. So in, say, 30 seconds or a minute, what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes in your transition that you've learned from, and what can you do about them?
Well, during the transition, I think it's a matter of you can get into chasing your own tail or chasing after a big rumored package. So I've been in the position a couple times now where somebody has said, hey, you know what? That sounds terrific, and I think if we do X, Y, and Z, that could probably be, a $50,000 deal here, and, that would grow into this or whatever. And then I literally took the successful action, kind of like if I was going up a staircase towards a goal. I was going up the staircase, up the staircase, up the staircase, and then, squirrel, there's this distraction over there, this shiny object that I said, wow, if I just take this one step, I'm going to get this pot of gold. And often that's just a mirage. It's just, somebody who's not on that same staircase and is pulling you off of that staircase. So really, I would suggest to others to be careful what you go after, and don't ever leave those successful actions that have allowed you to keep climbing that staircase.
That is great. That is great advice. Avoid shiny objects at all costs, right? And or create boundaries around you to avoid those shiny objects. Make sure to focus on the gold coins and not the silver coins. And when we come back, we're going to have Dave Jensen talk more about leadership, entrepreneurship, hiring strategies you can put in place today. He's also going to have him share some of the strategies of working with his wife and how they've gotten alignment and built even a better relationship. That and a whole lot more on growthtofreedom.com. Welcome back to growthtofreedom.com, the show that helps you transform your life, business, and relationships. Again, thanks for making us part of your day. Let's summarize the first segments of the show. We've had David Lee Jensen of davidleejensen.com, founder of thenakedinterview.com. I want to encourage you to go visit him. He's got a special resource package for you at thenakedinterview.com. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But David's an entrepreneur, a consultant, and expert in hiring and team building. He's built companies from scratch. He's also helped build companies over $2 billion in a year, and definitely an expert when it comes to leadership, entrepreneurship, and hiring. We've been talking about in the last segment how to avoid those shiny objects. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know how you can get distracted easily. You see the potential of something. And you know what potential is? It's a fancy French word that means hasn't done jack yet, hasn't done anything yet. And so the key is turning potential into something realized. And David can show you how to be able to do that. And one of the ways to do that is to get on the best ship there is. That's called leadership. That's called entrepreneurship, even if it's just of the mind. So we're going to dive into some more strategies that you can walk away with. Hiring strategy, because here at the end of the day, I think our quality of life is determined by, number one, the quality of the questions we ask. Number two, the quality of the people we surround ourselves with. So whether it's at home or in a family community center or a church, it's the quality of the people we're around. And you know what? The process of hiring holds true in that as it does to building mega successful companies like Dave has done. So when we started the show, we also told you we had a special resource package that we wanted to be able to get to you. And you know what? Building a great life takes courage. It takes initiative. And you're going to deal with failure and potential of mistakes. And I have a question. Would you like to make a bigger impact, have a bigger influence, be able to master communication, be able to contribute more to the things that matter to you? How about be able to go out and connect, truly connect with people at a deep level? In other words, deep quality relationships. Well, we want to give you this special new resource package today, right now for free. We're going to give you our best-selling book, A Champion in the Making, Awaken the Champion Within Your Life, Business, and Relationships. We're going to give you the book, Walking with the Wise, with people like Mark Victor Hansen, Peter Lowe, the late Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Dan Kennedy, and a whole lot more. That's free. We're going to give you our audio program. We're going to give you a video program. You can get that right now when you pick up the phone and call 602-246-3389. That's 602-246-3389, or go to the website growthtofreedom.com/mastery. That's growthtofreedom.com/mastery. You can get your free gift right now, this free mastery package. So, David, I want to dive right into this. You were talking about your wife and bringing her into the team, so to speak, as far as from the business side of things. So, talk about that process. What have you realized as a result of working together, and what secrets would you share to others that might be in a similar situation?
Oh, hello, bonjour, Dan. I am contemplating my potential.
That's
Sorry,
great.
distracted shiny object over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My wife is also a distracting shiny object who I love very much, and
It's
we were
great when we have wives that are distracting shiny objects. Wouldn't you agree? And all the women
it
are
is.
really mad at us because we just objectified women on this live radio show. But I
Oh,
guess they'll get
sorry
over
about
it.
that.
Yeah, no
Sorry about
worries.
that. It's obviously worked for us. 23 years happily married, and she really is my best friend first, and she was my best friend before I proposed to her, and we got married only weeks later because we knew it was the right fit. And that's not to say we haven't had our ups and downs like everybody does, but it's the fact that every time we got knocked down, we got back up. And I think that sharing a relationship in that area is, it goes back to exactly what I was talking about business. You have your own personal core values, and then you go to your family. And so if my core values and her core values are in alignment, that helps then guide our children's core values, and that then helps us guide our company's core values. So really, it was a natural progression to go from being in love and dating and getting married and enjoying newlywed, and then having children 5 years later, and then taking that whole scope of now they're 16 and 17. It's unbelievable. And living that part of our lives, to then taking the entrepreneurial leap, and now really our company is our new baby, and that is the game we are playing together, and we treat it as a game. Every day we get up and create a strategy, and what's the playbook for this next phase of the business. And so we really, really have gotten aligned that way, and I can't imagine a better way to live my life.
That's awesome. What advice would you give to someone who was considering working with their spouse or partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, and how to
I
do it
think
well?
I think really, first find out, like you would with any new employee, what are their core values? What are their goals? What do they want to accomplish? My wife wants to see this company succeed because she also sees an avenue to help others. She was in education for, over a decade. And we have a new project coming up, which is how to help college graduates and returning veterans get jobs in the job place. And she has a really strong purpose in helping, young people achieve their potential. So she sees, as we build the hiring academy, it's going to branch into that new avenue where she'll have a really active role.
That's fantastic. Now, you've worked with the love of your life. You've built a successful company. You go out and help companies, small companies, Fortune 500 companies. So let's get to, I guess, where, using the old cliche, where the rubber meets the road. As a hiring expert, what would you give as a blueprint, if you can, or a few strategies that entrepreneurs or leaders that are watching or listening today can put in place to be able to get it right the first time, every time?
Well, obviously, as any good author would say, read my book. The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret. It's available at thenakedinterview.com. Or begin at the bottom of that page with the free ebook, 10 Hiring Truths. And those really are the core. And I don't pretend that those 10 truths are the 10 truths, like the 10 commandments. These are just directional core values that I've found to work time in and time again, and they can help build your hiring process around them.
That's great. And I want to encourage you to go to Dave's site at thenakedinterview.com, thenakedinterview.com. Go to the bottom of the page, get access today, right now, of the 10 hiring truths. You can get that absolutely free. I encourage you, go get his book as well. I mean, it's worth the, few dollars. I mean, literally, it's pennies compared to what it can help you do. When you hire better, Dave, when you've helped companies do this, install this strategy or these strategies into their business and into their life, what have you seen as the outcome and the benefit for the owners, for the entrepreneurs, for the people running the companies?
Well, the original idea for this whole project, this whole purpose in life that was uncovered was I was doing standard business consulting, Anderson, type, Deloitte type, consulting, going into a business, finding a trouble area, and then helping that trouble persist just long enough to continue to support the consulting company, right? And then I found that you could actually solve problems.
So in other words, let me see if I've got this right. And to a degree, you were like an arsonist that would go in and start fires, but then show up wearing a hat as a fire chief. Is that kind of what I? No, I'm kidding, Zora.
Yeah, embarrassing but true. Embarrassing but true.
And it's
Back.
interesting that that's how standard consulting really works. So today you do it different. So I kind of digress here. I apologize.
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand. I mean, it's really like we have to be willing to kind of flaunt our flaws as well. As Renee Area says, flip your flaws, right? And
Yep.
so I did see that, and when I went into small businesses, they had trouble even paying for a consultant, but they were dying for a consultant. It was like, I need help and I can barely afford your help. And truly a good consultant should be able to say, look, give me, 30 days to come in, correct this, one outness, and you should be able to then afford, 5 times my price because you're correcting the correct thing in a company. And so when I turned that direction, when I said, okay, good, I'm going to really put my money where my mouth is. Let me come in, let me fix something, and I promise you, your increase in profitability will make it so that you can afford me. Suddenly it was like, the sky opened. And every company I went into had troubles in marketing and they had trouble with personnel. And there's a lot of marketing geniuses like yourself, like Joe Polish, like, all these other guys that, we are blessed to call friends. And so I said, look, I'm going to handle the hiring side. I'm going to handle the personnel side. And that really, it's really been a rocket ride ever since.
And you've certainly found your niche. You found your sweet spot, if you will, and you do a great job doing what you do. And again, I can't recommend Dave enough. You can go to thenakedinterview.com, get the 10 hiring troops, pick up his book. Dave, where else can people reach you? Where can they contact you if they want to? What would you recommend?
Sure. Okay. First of all, I mean, any of your listeners, anybody who's a friend of yours can just email me directly, David at hiringacademy.com, David at hiringacademy.com, or go to hiringacademy.com. And the most valuable tool I've ever had is now available. We're releasing the Hiring Academy, which is 4 virtual courses online that teach an HR professional or a small business owner the hiring process from A to Z. And if you go to hiringacademy.com, it's right there in the middle. It explains what the Hiring Academy is, and it's a video-based virtual training with worksheets you can print out, actual tools you can use, including hiring assessments and testing, just everything you could ever want to really just slam dunk, handle, or revamp your hiring process in your company.
That's awesome. And is it thehiringacademy.com or hiringacademy.com?
Believe it or not, it's both.
That makes it easy.
That's right. Grab both of those domains so that there was never a confusion.
That's great.
Hiringacademy.com.
So go to hiringacademy.com, HIRING academy.com, or reach David at david@hiringacademy.com. Dave, it's been awesome to have you on the show. I've got one last question that I'd love to throw by you, and that is, what should I ask you that I haven't asked you yet that you'd love to address and love to share with our audience?
Wow. What else could I give them of value that would just be over the top? And what that would be is I'd be willing to offer anybody here a 30-minute free consultation about whatever problem they have in their business. Usually that circles back to hiring, but obviously I've been a C-level executive as well, so I can answer any business problematic question. And so if they go to davidleejensen.com, under the Coach tab, I've put a free strategy session button there. So go to davidleejensen.com, go to the Coach tab, and at the bottom of the page, just click that orange button, schedule a 30-minute call with me, and I will answer any question to help you expand your business with no obligation, nothing besides just really wanting to help others.
That's an incredibly generous offer. So you can do that at davidleejensen.com. Hit the free Coach tab button at the bottom. Schedule your call. It's a 30-minute consultation to help you grow your business, advance your business, solve some of your biggest problems in the time that he's got. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of that. Now, Dave, time flies when we're having fun. And guess what? That's our show for today. Can you believe it? How quick this goes?
I can. Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I know I feel smarter by having you a part of the show, and I think we're all better for it. And so as you're watching, as you're listening, I appreciate you. And most importantly, take action with what you've learned. I mean, now is your time. Take the first steps. Follow through with what Dave's been sharing about answering the questions of values, determining your core values, determining the freedom from, freedom to question. Stay away from shiny objects. Be focused on aligning yourself with the right people. If you want to get a recap of the show, you can go to growthtofreedom.com/17. That's growthtofreedom.com/17. Email us at info@growthtofreedom.com. And you know what? I always like to end the show in a unique way. If it resonates with you, I'm a winner. I'm a champion. I'm the best. I deserve it. Find a local mastermind, coaching group, support group to help you build your growth. That's it for the day. Seize the day. We'll see you next week. Make it a great week.